And welcome to secret number 10 from our book, Conversation Secrets for Tomorrow's Leaders. And because 75% of all conversations or all work is done through conversations, it's incumbent on leaders to make sure that they choose their conversations carefully. And today we're going to talk about secret number 10, which is about slow down, check in. And this is in our chapter of connection. And the quote that starts this off is by Marcus Aurelius, so it stood the test of time, which is everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact, and everything we see is a perspective, not the truth. A lot of wisdom in that stood the test of time, and we're going to explain that a little bit in terms of this chapter, or this, sorry, secret number 10. Now, our brains are geared to go through things in a fairly automatic way, because if we had to sit down and think about everything that we're learning, that we're seeing, and that we have to then assess, we'd go crazy. So most of the time, our brains are in an automatic mode, and we have this mental map, and we tend to stick to this one mental map. And Daniel Kahneman famously coined it as System 1 thinking, which is about automatic thinking, which you do probably about 98% of the time. Now, the thing is that we experience life through different lenses, back to Marcus Aurelius's quote. So you can have two people going to a movie, seeing a movie, one comes out going, yeah, it was okay, and the other one sort of in tears and going, oh, that was so profound and deep. Both seeing the same movie, but they've been looking at it through different eyes, different perspectives, different mental maps. And as a result, people tend to see things differently. Tend to see things differently, period. So that's the challenge. The challenge is that leaders are under a tremendous amount of stress to deliver and get things done. And we kind of assume that everybody's in the same mental map as we are. And they're not. And unfortunately, this leads to problems. In fact, there was a study done by Stanford that suggested that up to 90% of conversations fail to hit their mark because of this assumption that everybody's on the same page or using the same mental map as the leader is. And this is problematic. And what it's also referred to when people are sort of stressed as leaders, they're stressed, they're moving things forward quickly, they tend to become addicted to being right. And they just think they're right all the time. And they get this dopamine rush that kind of supports that. And they like winning. And that's what leadership is often about, is about winning. And it becomes a reinforcing cycle. So what's the solution to this? Well, the solution is slow down, check in. And Stephen Covey famously said, seek to understand to then be understood, right? And one of the big ways of doing that is getting curious and asking questions. So the slowing down and checking in might sound counterintuitive. In fact, it is an extremely powerful leadership tool to get strategic and, importantly, emotional alignment. That's to mean to say we're getting the head and the heart aligned with other people. We're connecting with them with their head and their mind and their heart. So what are some of the tools to slow down? Well, one is check in, right? Make it a religious thing, sort of after 4 or 5 minutes of speaking, or maybe even less, just check in and sort of say, what are you taking away from the conversation so far? Or I just want to make sure we're on the same page. Another tool is to suspend your agenda. Really, you're going into a conversation as a leader, you've got this perspective. You want to put it to one side and keep your mind open to what other people have to offer. So move from judgment to discernment by suspending your agenda. Another powerful one is words. Words mean different things to different people. And so when somebody says leadership, or he needs to improve his leadership, or she's not delivering to the level we expected, what is the level that you expected? Or what does the leadership mean to you? What does it look like? What does excellence in leadership look like? So probing words in terms of what people mean is a powerful way of getting connection. Another one is testing assumptions. We all come into conversations with assumptions. In fact, we've got this sort of ladder of assumptions that we go through based on our beliefs and what we've experienced in life. So the trick is, you know what? I'm making the assumption of X. I'm making the assumption that you are on the same page as I am. what page are we on? Let's test that assumption together. Another one is to paraphrase, in terms of, if I've understood you correctly, this is what you're saying, and that's a form of checking in as well. It's also a form of making sure that people feel heard, which in today's world, VUCA world and leadership world and high stress, people often don't feel heard. So just slowing down, checking in, paraphrasing, making sure that you've understood, probing on their words to make sure that you're on the same page in terms of what they're meaning, is a great tool to making people feel heard. When people feel heard, actually they're feeling loved, they're feeling connection. And perhaps one of the most powerful ones, that sort of underlies everything, and perhaps underlines everything in life, is stay curious, right? Get curious, let go of your agenda, ask powerful questions, go back into being a child, and asking, why is the sky blue and why are clouds white? Getting back into that mindset is a very powerful way of connecting with people, and letting go of your assumptions, your agendas. So hopefully you find that helpful. And when we do that as leaders, we slow down and we check in, we then are able to be in a position to help people make their own decisions. And that's ultimately what leadership is about, right? Helping people make their own decisions and taking then ownership of execution. So hopefully you've enjoyed this chapter, and we look forward to seeing you on the next.